In the quiet, unassuming town of Zarephath, a widow and her son stood on the brink of starvation. They had one last meal left, a single handful of flour and a little oil, before they would surely die. It was in this moment of despair that a stranger, the prophet Elijah, appeared at their door, asking for a simple meal. The widow, despite her dire circumstances, showed remarkable faith and generosity, offering what little she had to the man of God. This act of kindness was rewarded with a divine miracle. The flour and oil never ran out, sustaining the widow and her son until the drought ended. This story, found in the biblical book of 1 Kings, is a powerful reminder of the unexpected ways in which divine intervention can manifest. However, it also serves as a prelude to a more complex and unsettling narrative that challenges our understanding of divine power and human suffering. Elijah, one of the most enigmatic and compelling figures in the Hebrew Bible, is often remembered for his dramatic confrontations with the prophets of Baal and his miraculous feats, such as calling down fire from heaven. Yet, beneath the surface of these well-known stories lies a more nuanced and troubling tale. The prophet's encounter with the Lord at Mount Horeb, described in 1 Kings 19, is a pivotal moment that reveals a deep sense of doubt and a profound questioning of divine will. Elijah, exhausted and despondent after his victory over the prophets of Baal, flees into the wilderness, pursued by the vengeful Queen Jezebel. In his despair, he pleads with the Lord to take his life, feeling that his efforts have been in vain. The Lord, in response, leads him to Mount Horeb, the same place where Moses had encountered God. There, Elijah experiences a theophany, a divine manifestation. But it is not the spectacular display of power he might have expected. Instead, the Lord is not in the powerful wind, the earthquake, or the fire. The divine presence is found in a soft murmuring sound, a subtle and almost imperceptible whisper. This moment is a stark contrast to the theophany at Mount Sinai, where the Lord revealed himself to Moses in a terrifying display of wind, earthquake, and fire. The absence of these powerful natural phenomena in Elijah's experience is significant. It suggests a shift in the way God communicates with his prophets, and, by extension, with humanity. The soft murmuring sound is a subtle and intimate form of divine communication, one that requires Elijah to listen closely and with humility. However, the true significance of this passage lies in the questions it raises about the nature of divine power and its relationship to human suffering. The theophany at Mount Horeb is followed by a series of commands from the Lord, instructing Elijah to anoint Hazael as king of Aram, Jehu as king of Israel, and Elisha as his successor. These commands set in motion a series of events that will lead to the destruction of Israel and the suffering of countless people. Hazael, in particular, is described as a future oppressor of Israel, one who will commit atrocities against the Israelites. Jehu, though initially a righteous king, will perpetrate acts of violence and continue the worship of the golden calf. Elisha, while a faithful prophet, will also witness the downfall of Israel and the fulfillment of the Lord's judgment. This raises a critical question. If the Lord is all-powerful and all-knowing, Why would he command actions that lead to such suffering? The answer is not straightforward, and it is clear that the biblical text does not provide a simple resolution to this dilemma. Instead, the narrative leaves us with a sense of ambiguity and tension. Elijah, who has just experienced the soft murmuring sound of the Lord, is now faced with a divine command that seems to contradict the compassion and tenderness he might have expected from such an intimate encounter. The passage is further complicated by the fact that the Lord's plans do not come to fruition in the way that might be expected. Hazael, Jehu, and Elisha all play roles in the Lord's plans, but the outcomes are not as clear-cut as the initial commands might suggest. Hazael does indeed become a powerful and ruthless king, but his actions are not entirely within the Lord's control. Jehu, despite his initial obedience, ultimately fails to fulfill the Lord's will completely. Elisha, too, is left to grapple with the consequences of the Lord's commands, eventually weeping over the future suffering of Israel. This ambiguity is perhaps most vividly illustrated in the story of Hazael's rise to power. When Elisha, Elijah's successor, meets Hazael in Damascus, he is overcome with a sense of dread and sorrow. Despite knowing that the Lord has chosen Hazael to be king, Elisha is deeply troubled by the future atrocities that Hazael will commit. The contrast between Elisha's emotional response and the divine command is striking, suggesting that even the prophets of God can struggle to reconcile their understanding of divine will with the harsh realities of human suffering. The passage from 1 Kings 19 is often omitted from later religious writings, such as the books of Chronicles, which present a more sanitized and straightforward account of Israel's history. This omission is significant, as it suggests that the questions raised by this passage are too challenging or uncomfortable for some later interpreters. The ambiguity and tension in the narrative are not easily resolved, and they force readers to confront the complex and often paradoxical nature of divine power. The story of Elijah and Elisha is not just a historical account. It is a theological exploration of the nature of God and the human condition. It challenges us to consider the limits of divine power and the role of human agency in the unfolding of history. The soft murmuring sound at Mount Horeb is a poignant reminder that divine communication is often subtle and requires careful listening. It also suggests that the relationship between God and humanity is not one of absolute control, but of partnership and dialogue. In the end, the story of Elijah and Elisha is a call to embrace the ambiguity and uncertainty of faith. It invites us to question, to doubt, and to seek deeper understanding, even in the face of suffering and injustice. The Lord's message to Elijah, delivered in the soft murmuring sound, is not a definitive answer, but a gentle invitation to continue the journey of faith, even when the path is unclear and the future uncertain. The conclusion of this narrative is as haunting as its beginning. Elijah, taken to heaven in a whirlwind, leaves behind a legacy of faith, doubt, and divine mystery. Elisha, left to continue the work, must grapple with the same questions and challenges. The final scene of Elisha's death, with Josh's anguished cry, my father, the chariots of Israel and its horsemen," echoes the earlier scene of Elijah's departure, reinforcing the sense of deep and desperate urgency in the face of impending doom. These moments of deep emotion and uncertainty are a testament to the enduring power of the biblical narrative, which continues to challenge and inspire readers to this day. In the end, the story of Elijah and Elisha is a call to embrace the complexity of faith, to acknowledge the limitations of human understanding, and to find hope and meaning even in the midst of doubt and suffering.